The Cleveland Cavaliers, 32-4 after
Yeah.
beating Oklahoma City on Wednesday. Just the 7th team in NBA history to start a season at 32-4. Thank you to the Cavs game notes for that. They are the first in the NBA in offensive rating, shooting better than 50% from the floor. That's number 1 in the NBA. They're 8th in the league in defensive rating, so solid there as well. Among the numbers that jumped out to me, they're 11-0 this season against the Western Conference, like the varsity conference. They're 11-0 against the West, including that win over Oklahoma City. They've won 23 games this year by double digits. They're just bludgeoning teams as well. There's still a lot of, wait till the playoffs types that are out there to make a decision on the Cavs. People, and I get that. I get that to a certain degree. But we're almost at the midway point of this season, Rachel.
Yeah.
Is this now maybe not the team to beat, but a team to beat? How would you frame what you've seen from the Cavaliers so far?
I mean, they're certainly a team to beat, and they are for real. I mean, that's the way I would describe them, is that anybody who thought this was just a cute way to start the season, that has obviously been proven to not be true. It is more than that. And that numbers against the Western Conference to me is so significant when you rattle that off. And then just overall, this is a team that's shown how diverse it is, how deep it is. I think part of the question is, can they do this in a playoff environment? Not because they're going to be necessarily playing against better teams, which of course they will be, but that the style of play in the playoffs becomes so different. And Chris, you and I have seen many a team that's been a regular season champion. And then when the pace slows down, when depth is not as important, when certain other factors, when teams have time to game plan for each other over 7-game series, when rest becomes more plentiful because there aren't back-to-backs, some of the dynamics about what make a team really be able to conquer a regular season and all of its challenges don't really apply as much in a playoff environment. And I think that's where some of the skepticism over Cleveland is for people who are still like, I don't know, wait and see. It's kind of about that more than it is about like, oh, I don't know, they play in the East. How good can they really be? All of that kind of naysaying stuff. I'm curious to sort of see what happens with Donovan Mitchell. He only had 11 points in that big game against the Thunder. Obviously, Oklahoma City, just an incredible defensive team. They were very focused on him. Donovan is a rock star. I mean, if anyone had any doubt, this season obviously proves a lot of that, not just in the way he's played, but the way he's elevated his teammates, particularly Evan Mobley. But I'm curious to see what happens with him because there's been so many comparisons, Chris, between them and the Golden State Warriors of the 2015 season, right? That first championship. And they had Steph Curry. And so, yes, the Warriors came out of nowhere-ish. And yes, there was the coaching similarities with Mark Jackson giving away to Steve Kerr, the way we've had J.D. Bickerstaff give way here to Kenny Atkinson. But Steph Curry and Donovan Mitchell are still a little bit far apart. And I'm curious to see whether Donovan just even takes his level up yet another notch in the playoffs.
A Warriors coach in Kenny Atkinson on the bench there in Golden State for a number of years. Underdog is the best place to cash in on all your takes during the playoffs. Which players are going off and which ones are ice cold. With over 5 million happy players and $2 billion won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all your favorite athletes' performances. With their pick'em game, you could win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats, like yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and so much more. Underdog is the only pick'em platform that puts the power to cash out in your hands. Now you can either keep riding with your entry or tap the Win Now button to cash out whenever you want. Every dog deserves a chance, and with Underdog Rescues, you can get your money back and receive a promo if an early injury causes your entry to lose. This week on Underdog, I am looking at Lamar Jackson going higher than 2 touchdowns and Jamar Chase going higher than 9 catches. So Underdog is the best place to play Pick'em. Download the app, sign up with the promo code OPENFLOOR, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code OPENFLOOR. Must be 18 years or older, 19 years or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 years or older in Colorado for some games, 21 years or older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado for some games. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpggambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY 467-369. I get the skeptics because there are still things that I wonder how it's going to translate in a second or a third round postseason series, like the backcourt of Mitchell and Garland. Really good offensively. Will they get exploited defensively? Because neither one of them has real size for a two-guard position. It kind of reminded me and has reminded some people of what Donovan had in Utah with Mike Conley, where he was backstopped by Rudy Gobert. And they had some good teams out there, but they never advanced past the second round of the playoffs with that group. Same thing with Evan Mobley, who's having an outstanding season, but he's not a prolific three-point shooter. So can you, in today's NBA, can you beat a Boston or a New York or a Milwaukee where your front line is not shooting threes? I mean, 20 years ago, yes, absolutely. Now, not so, maybe not so much. They are phenomenal with Mobley on the court. They've got a defensive rating of 105 with Mobley out there on the floor. It's like 113 when he's on the bench. So he's getting it done on that end of the floor. Real candidate for defensive player of the year. And look, I Mitchell didn't have a great game offensively, at least against Oklahoma City. But to your point, he's been outstanding all season long. And even the numbers, like his numbers are, what's he, like 22, 23 points per game. He could easily be averaging like 28, 29, but he's purposely taking a step back. So some of these other guys, Mobley in particular, can play bigger roles with his team. So I'm really impressed by Donovan's ability to do that. And I still think, and this is where my optimism for Cleveland comes in, I still think that in the fourth quarter of a close game, there are few guys as good at him at taking over a game and winning it for him. I saw him almost do it single-handedly against the Celtics in Boston a few weeks back. I think he's going to be that fourth quarter closer for them. So if they keep the game close, I think he's going to be good enough to get it done.
Well, it's interesting. Mobley and Jared Allen combined for 46 points in that game against Oklahoma City. How different do you think it would have been if Chet Holmgren had been in the lineup?
I don't know. That Oklahoma City team, there's like 3 or 4 guys they could just plug back in there. I mean, it'd be different.
I mean, Hartenstein played great. Obviously, he had a great game. But what do you think?
Another one, though, like I don't know yet. Like I got to see Hartenstein and Chet play together. Like, are they going to platoon or are they going to play together at times? I'm still not sure about that. It would be different because Isaiah can shoot the three, but Chet's a floor spacer. Like Chet's a legitimate, he's like a guard out there. Yes. I think it would have been different. It's just like what I've seen. And Cleveland, even though they have that 11-0 record against the Western Conference, I think their strength of schedule is not, they've got one of the easiest strength of schedules in the NBA. But even the game they lost to Boston, they played exceptionally well in Boston. They got another chance at them in a couple of weeks. In fact, their schedule, like we're going to learn a lot about Cleveland. This time next week or the week after that, we're going to have maybe a different conversation about the Cavaliers. But they've got some good games coming up against some of the top teams in both conferences. So Houston is on their schedule, I think, next week, and another showdown, like I said, with the Celtics. So right now, I'm gonna buy the Cavs. We're gonna do a little buy or sell. I'm gonna buy the Cavs as a true title contender because I think their defense with Mobley is solid. They got, I think, 6 guys shooting 40% from 3 or better, which is great for any NBA team, especially in this 3-point centric league. And I'm a believer in Mitchell. Like I'm a believer that this is kind of the year he's going to take that big step forward in the postseason and be the fourth quarter finisher. I think they're going to get at least to the conference finals. Then we'll see. If they wind up matched up with Boston in the conference finals, we'll see what happens there.
Well, look, title contender, right? Kind of means the Final Four, I would say, right? Because, anyone who's in the conference finals can get to the finals and win. So, do I expect them to be in the conference finals? Do I think they're a good shot to be in the conference finals? Absolutely. So then, therefore, they're a title contender. I'm in on that as well. I am curious when you talk about their upcoming schedule, that game they've got against Oklahoma City coming up in Oklahoma City. I don't see the Thunder giving up 129 points on their own floor. But again, we'll just have to see. I don't think Holmgren is, he's ramping up, but I don't think Chet is expected to play in that game.
He's post All-Star break, I hear.
Yeah. So I think that'll be the same situation with Mobley and Allen, but I still, against Mobley and Allen, but I still think that we might see a different kind of defensive, just sort of attention at that center position than we did in this last game. So I'm curious. I think it'd be great. I mean, how much fun is this that you have these matchups in the middle of the season when sometimes it can be a little dead?
I mean, that game on Wednesday night, was it? I think there were 30 lead changes in that game.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want to see from two top tier teams in the NBA. I think I'll learn the most about the Cavs from that game against Boston they have in early February. That's a home
Yes.
game for them. And look, they almost beat the Celtics, a few weeks back. They chipped away at a big lead in the second half, almost got it all the way back. I'm curious. The Celtics will probably be at full strength. Knock on wood, they are right now. So I think that'll be kind of the bar that I'll be looking for with Cleveland to see where they're at as a team.